In yesterday's Lunch Alert, I talked about how Bloomberg was dead on arrival, DOA, in the Democratic debate, and he sure was. He was actually absolutely laid out and filleted. And I said that today I would talk about the rest of the field and where this leaves us. The debate was really a series of three two-way contests, buried within one six-way contest. One two-way contest was Elizabeth Warren versus Amy Klobuchar for the women vote. As we discussed a week ago, Klobuchar's vote was directly related to Warren's vote in Iowa and New Hampshire. The higher Warren went, the lower Klobuchar did, and vice versa. So there's a presumption that that is a feminist vote, and the exit polls show it largely was a female vote that switched. So it's kind of a closed contest between Warren and Klobuchar. And I think Warren just killed her. Warren was incredible. She was like a prosecutor, a very good prosecutor. Maybe that's the real role she should have. And oh my God, she just was great. She had all of her facts. She marshaled them beautifully. She was fabulous in the way she destroyed Bloomberg. Oh, right, you see what he's saying? He's saying he was nice to some women. It's a brilliant comment. And I think she came across as strong and forceful, instead of the same old dribble all the time about the corruption in our society and the rich ripping people off. She was innovative because she had new material going after Bloomberg, and she used it beautifully. And I think that it helped her vis-a-vis Sanders, who's her main opponent on the left, but I think mainly it helps her for the female vote. She was a model of a strong woman candidate, unlike Hillary's shrillness and unlike some people's diffidence and weakness. Klobuchar, on the other hand, absolutely lost anything she had from the previous debates. She showed herself to be frail and timid. At one point, her voice cracked. It was like she was going to cry. When they went after her about her inability to name the president of Mexico, she should have said, "I had a senior moment." Instead, she almost cries and fights with the Spanish reporter. It's unbelievable weakness. She just couldn't handle herself. She wasn't ready for prime time, and it showed. The second two-way contest was Biden against Buttigieg for the moderate vote. Now that Bloomberg, I think, has more or less destroyed himself, that's going to be the contest to name Bernie Sanders' opponent. Is it going to be Biden or is it going to be Buttigieg? Well, Buttigieg looked like the president of the student council. In fact, when I was a kid, I used to go to Model UNs, and that's what he looked like in that. Just no passion, no texture. You look at Bernie Sanders, there's texture. He's been through a lot. You can see that. You can see all of the experience and all of the complexity of his character and his beliefs. Warren, you can see the scars of the past and the growth that occurred. It's like looking at a tree where the limbs have been cut off and regrown. Buttigieg, you're looking at a straight tree that nothing has ever happened to. And it was just very clear that he's a high school kid. And in that league, it's not that he isn't articulate or doesn't know his stuff, it's that there's no real substance there, no texture. Biden, on the other hand, really came back. I thought that he was forceful in the way he went after Bloomberg. Everybody had really good punching practice, and they really worked out on the bag. And I think that Biden really did a very fine job. When Biden jumped in and said, look, the reason you stopped stop and frisk was not that you reconsidered or you saw what happened. It's that President Obama appointed a monitor to go into New York and see what you were doing and exposed it, and you had to curb your conduct. It was just excellent. It showed his experience. It showed his ability to act and be decisive. And also, even though he flubbed some words and stuff, he was clearly all there and on top of his game. Buttigieg and Klobuchar knocked themselves out of the race. Not out of the race like Bloomberg, but down. And then there was the fight, the main event, which was Bloomberg against Sanders, which people had felt, I had felt, might be the finals, the semifinals for the nomination. Well, with Bloomberg's defeat, it's a huge boost for Sanders. He now has no real challenger for first place. Biden was good, but he wasn't that good, and Sanders was. And he showed his texture. He showed the deep fabric of his beliefs. He showed that he'd be as aggressive on one billionaire as he is on everybody. I think that he came through in an amazingly strong, aggressive way. Not quite as aggressive as Warren, but certainly close, and wonderfully articulate in terms of his policies. So looking at this, I think that it's going to be Sanders all the way now. We don't know South Carolina yet. We don't even know Nevada yet. And there's still Super Tuesday. And Bloomberg still has a lot of money. But at the moment, I think it's clearly advantaged Sanders.